Okay, today, yeah, what we left last time is many ways that Zhentong, Madhyamaka is superior because of the funniest, the doctrine, and the references, and how mistake of the Tibetans later on, and everything we examined. So today we say Gajik Zhentong Gulgun Murtak Tranchan Batang Tsungshir Tawan Terwao Jizeros. So today we have a refutation of some people saying that Zhentong Ba is incorrect view because of very same as Samkhya school. So this one, how he refused, Taranatha, how refused is Simtsam Yenna Murtak Luxengal, Munbam Zosuk, Lakshit Chemborolum, Takshin Jean-Luc Murtak Pam Sonduk, Chagdokdongi Zambia, Nyongtamins. So that means he's saying we have Tibetans have a big problem because usually we say like Abhidharma, Kosha, like we say the lower schools of doctrines we think is incredible doctrine, such as Abhidharma Kosha. But at the same time, we think that high school of the Chitta Mata doctrine, we think is similar of the non-Buddhist, the Hindu Samkhya. So that means we are basically Mahayana school. Mahayana doctrine is much inferior than Hinayana school. Hinayana doctrine is more superior. So he said that kind of statement is means. So who is drained by jealous and crazy mind only talk that. So otherwise, how come you say the Mahayana is inferior and Hinayana is superior? So he refusing by that way. Okay. And then he said another refutation. He said, "Kansonan mustaq lugian shir, tramtavji nam jigmet parangir, shugri ndawi teteringir nan nyan." So he's saying, when you say Zhentong view is similar of the Samkhya, you cannot make that statement, because if you say same means everything same, or you say a little bit, sometimes similarities. If you say everything is the same, then if you take that kind of statement, if you mean like that, and then we are Buddhist. In general, we have four schools, 4 tenets in Buddhism. So we don't have all of them. So that means we don't have any of this. So he's saying that's why is wrong. But if you saying is the same means there's some similarities. If you say that way, then also if there's some similarities, that's why you say Zhentong is same as Samkhya school. Then you have many other problems arises. What that means, Shogrin David Tetram Sonan Nyan Tur Derni Shevchak Badam Chong. Nan Jurshot Ba Transhen Tam Chomut, Chero Chopin gave Jonan Tam Chong, Nyarji Gomba Murtak Luxanger, Sang Chopin, Ranshuk Badam Chong. He said, if that case, if you call is the same, then the Sharvakas and Patiyakas is similar of the Mustakpa, Shevchakpa, Mustak Shevchakpa, Suravakis, yeah? Or Yoga, oh yes, Visika. So that is one of the Hindu school. And then he said, Naranjurpa Shopa Transhen Batansons. So that means all Yogacara schools, all of them have to be similar of Samkhya. Not only Chitamata, but any of Yogacara schools have to be same as a Samkhya school. And then the conduct of the all these full ordinations also you have to say same as Jainism practices. Not only that, but even you can say even practice compassion, also you can say a non-Buddhist practice, because compassion is not only Buddhist practice, is even non-Buddhist they practice compassion. But you cannot say oh, you practice compassion, so non-Buddhist practice compassion, so you are same as non-Buddhist. You cannot say that. That is yeah, a ridiculous statement. So not only that, but also your Vajrayana practices also you have to agree with the same exact of the Shiva doctrine practice. So that kind of your statement is invalid, and you have rise if you take that statement, then you have all these problems rises. Then he give an example. He say, "Chamjuk jigr ngawali chang, mansam lina ramdi khang, rngutang rngumir number fang." Rayon tang deli ngi trolwa ten norli wajifsha, rngular ngumir yon mayan, ngumir lang ngunyid me. Rngutang rngumir nam trolwa, gank hite tenid riks. So Tabijan, can you read that verses?
There is complete transcendence of mere names. Things and non-things are completely abandoned. From all emission and gathering has been designated the son of the god of wealth. In the real things do not exist. Non-things also have no unreality. Real things and non-things are completely liberated. By what are they known? By that itself.
Okay, that verses come from what?
The 5 destructions of Vishnu.
Yes. That is Vishnu's doctrine, saying like these things And he's saying this all is like Buddhist, very, very similar. It sounds very similar. Zhentong, Wamshukkum zipper Jarwa, Li Chang, Wakchigum Sompam Choktobdin, Riki Wamshukun Taipi, Bajik Yotpa, Niedermawa, Tean Jakpar Raptabjut. So you read that one.
From the composition on the beauty of Shiva, it says, one sun, Brahma, is supremely true. The Lord of awareness is limitless. Speaking only of existence, doing that is described as a completed nous.
Okay. So the first one, like first verse, we said those complete transcended of more names, things, non things, completely abundant, the truth. So that is like a Buddhist saying, like all self of person and self of phenomenal, all of them just names, just imputed, nothing's true. Liberation from all the missions and gathering has been, this one's all. So, for instance, there is nothing liberated, especially something similar like Ranstongba way of saying, there is nothing to liberate it. The only difference is that in the Northly Vijivsha. So the name is different, but the meanings are similar. So all matters and non-matters, everything is equally not truly exist. So that kind of the first verse is saying as very similar of the what Ranstongba say. And the second one, the truth is the only truth, the ultimate truth. So all of them showing as like a Buddhist doctrine, similar, very similar meaning, and especially Ranstongba's meaning, Madhyamaka's meaning. Chief Shongwis, the Taktan, Ranstong Mawayang, Chonzachig Martok, Tawa Chimtanos. So in he said this all of them very similar, a little things not same, the names not same, but everything similar of the Ranstong Madhyamaka. Tifshir Sheptagmeto. Murtaki London, Romar Gangi, Ranger Transos. So this non-Buddhist refers is also Shantarakchitas, the ornaments of the Madhyamaka, also he referred them. And then Taranata said, Ko Chamjukun Santongtang, Yang Chechongtang, Lagdangi, Galatang, Tadribgi Galatang. So Taranata has many of, seems like many of non-Buddhist doctrines. He researched and he studied and he composed, seems like. All of them, in all of them, he analyzed those, Wamshuk Samba Jipshatang, Changchen Birjon Chirikpa Tramzi Dat Dagali, two Mokis. So he received from another Vedic Panchata. Zhang Chen Nam Zhen Rimi Fiongtensi. Tunmoki. Zhang Chen Ba. Zhang Chen Ba means Samkhya. Samkhya's doctrine and the inside Jitamata or Namzenba. These two very similar. So even the terms very similar. Not only that, but many of the terms are similar of the Tantrayana. Then not only that, the Vishinaya texts are very somewhat like Pasangika. The Shiviti, how to say? This one is a
Shivites. Shivites.
Oh, Shivats, compared by that Swatantrika. So, okay, maybe you read that verses once.
Verses once. There's not so much verses there.
This translation you can read very quickly, maybe helpful.
The whole thing?
Yeah.
According to what is said there, except for Rangtong exponents being just a little not the same as the other, the views are very similar. On that basis, they have no difference. Such texts of the extremists are cited in the auto-commentary of the Ornament of the Middle Way. And we are empty of the characteristics of the god Vishnu, great and small songs of the essence, songs of having goodness, songs of establishing dominion, the Lambada of Shiva, the various Samkhya texts that are indeed heard from some of the Brahmin Panditas. Through the false expectarians and Samkhya are much alike. Although the false expectarians and Samkhya are much alike, their mere terminology is mostly dissimilar. Some terminology accords with our Tantra texts. Vaishnava texts are somewhat like Prasangika. The Shivites are proclaimed to be like Svatantrika. These advocates of a creator have such particular teachings.
Okay. So then Taranatha said, all these similars, many non-Buddhist doctrines are similar, Buddhist different doctrines. So if there is a similarity in Zhentong and Samkhya, then you say, or any other non-Buddhist doctrines similar, then you say, oh, this is incorrect view. Is really, how you say in English, ridiculous, or what do you say?
Yeah, ridiculous, yeah. Or,
that's he saying, those things he tried to say, okay? And then also he say, Shipurmawa Teti Chachuyans, the only difference is that non-Buddhist believe in their creator. And that's the only difference, he said. There's no much huge differences. Nina Shokonsong Zamjig Nyambola, Murtak Trim Team Shokir Tranchan, the Trakshir Sangi Pai in them Shoko, Gajig Yonmin Chawar and Dopata, you want to Yomin Chawar and Dopani, Gyawd Mahto Chapel Chenduktus. So, and then he said, same as that Shiva, no Shiva, the same as the Zhentong one, Shiva, isn't it?
yes, the Shivites.
Shivas and, oh yeah, this is Samkhya and Zhentong Ba. Not Shiva, sorry, the Samkhya and Zhentong Ba. similar doesn't make any Zhentong is inferior. Instead, make superior, because from all of the Hindu non-Buddhist, the most superior and profound doctrine is Samkhya school. And then he said, from all the Buddhist doctrines, the most high doctrine as Zhentong. So that's Zhentong Madhyamaka. So that's why he say that makes you try to say, oh, Zhentong is incorrect because of many similar Samkhya, but actually make superior, not inferior. Gajik yon min changran do pa tang, yongtu yon min changran do pa gni, gyad martok kapar jinduktu. Read that translation. Is anything make sense in translation?
Starting with the Juchi, which the one you just went over?
This is the Samkhya school and Zhentong Basim. That's okay, but then the next verse.
According to the scripture of the conqueror and his children, the Zhentong is correct, but Rangtong is not. Some, because the scriptures provide them no certainty, claim now that there must be established by reasoning. Their tradition is established by neither scripture nor reasoning. Okay. If two views with partial likeness are completely equal, as the best of extremist doctrines, the Samkhya system is famous. Buddhism too would have the virtue of fame. Those who maintain the bondage, who maintain that something or other exists, and those who maintain the existence of the perfectly established, except for India and in Tibet, look whether the two are any different.
Yeah, that one, the last two things, he seems similar, India and Tibet. Do you understand that translation, what I'm saying?
Translation not so clear.
So can you guess what I'm saying?
It seems to say that we need to examine and look, other than the fact that they were coming from India or in Tibet, that you should look and see what their differences are.
Yeah, so the Samkhya schools or the other doctrines didn't say very clear, but the other doctrines saying things and the Tibetans saying things. The only difference is some Indians saying and Tibetans saying, maybe their way of saying a little bit different, but what they're saying is the same. Is it like that?
Now that you say it, I could read it that way.
Okay.
But maybe not clear immediately.
Yeah. Gajig yod min changran dot pa tang, yongtrib yod min changran dot pa gni, rigad mak tok chaprachig yod. Yeah. Okay, so this one is not very clear. I have to think more in the future. But I think the rough meaning is comparing India and the Tibet, the Buddhist and the Indian religion. Okay. Deep chi garwi longtemps ftanana, rajanton tak ranton tefterman, kachig long la niba me pifshir, tarta requit par gusolo, long ganika me piran lugunjok, requit par hunter gumoch. So he's saying, according to all the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas, if you reference what they're saying, and then is Zhentong definitely is the superior. But some people say, oh, the long means the doctrines and the Buddha, the Bodhisattvas saying is not important. More important, we have reasoning is important. He's saying that, and then he said, "Long reganika may be wrong." but the reality is who saying that is you actually who saying these ones, you don't have a refer Buddha's teachings, and also you don't have really reason, good reasoning logic. You don't have both. So your doctrine don't have the power of both. Then he said, of course, I agree. Reasoning is so important, but the reasoning is have a limitation. So the most profound, you have to refer to the
你还是用这个，因为你这个摄像的不好，你看他们只看到你半个人，这个不行，你就切换到这个，现在就是now already can。
No， 你看，一样，不是，算了。And then yes, so the most profound things, you have to be valid by Buddha's teachings. Why? Because so 3 countless eons merit of Buddha, Buddha's teachings, if you see is invalid, then no more ordinary person's reasoning is not that important, you know. That's he saying. So the Buddha himself saying that the most profound things is has to prove by the Buddha's referring teachings, not any other methods. So that's why he said for this, those who claim that Zhentong is same as non-Buddhist refused. Now we're going to talk about Zhentong is go beyond Zhentong's reasoning. Okay, so that's so what they're saying is, he's saying, Zhentong was try to argue and criticism Zhentong is pointless. Why? Because the Zhentong was the reasoning cannot do anything for the Zhentong. For instance, like, you know, doesn't matter how great weapon, powerful we have, you cannot do anything for the space. You cannot damage the space. So meaning like that. You can't destroy space. So something like that. So that's why, and for instance, Rangtong Baz, the Rangtong Madhyamaka, the best, the reasoning is you know, if you have to exist, one or plural or single, that kind of, you know, and that kind of the reason is. So when you analyze it, what is the single and what is plural, then you cannot find anything plural or single. So that is the best reason is. But even that, Zhentong cannot, you cannot do anything with that. Because this all is good enough to all the combined phenomena you can analyze with that. But something non-confined phenomena, you cannot, you cannot make a challenge by that. That's same as a space. You cannot destroy. You cannot damage space like that. Onkyang churlu takpa zamnyen li ngok chiyang mefshir temen yin cholluk chunit temit cholluk chunit metpar gakhwifshir jiyang mefshir telan girwa mitz. Onkyang that reasoning is illusional mind, the range of the illusional mind's reasoning. So in that kind of definition and or reasoners is essenceless. Essenceless, so that's why it's self-empty. So cholluk chunit, yours, by your, according to your, is the suchness, you even negating your suchness, the ultimate truth, also you negating, and you believe in as self-empty. So therefore, so basically you agree in is nothingness. So nothingness, how can you change? No possible. So that means basically he refusing is like a Zhentong and truly exist of the ultimate truth, or according to like Ramthongpa is nothingness, the self-empty. Either way, you cannot analyze by those reasoners, because one is like you try to scratch the sky. One is you cannot do anything because nothingness. So that's why he refused both. Shuktan tuji chakir nawepa yonatela mingir machete shuguyot wanhi yerman medpatang tun disuk tuksum girtanchis. So when we say direction and the time, all of them is part of together. We just named. There is no real division. Yodna, if there is a real division, then is have to be unchangeable. But that's not possible. We think we see the direction, but the direction is not possible detected by the five senses. Senses not possible. We just think we see direction, but there is no direction we can see. There is no such thing direction. We just make the direction. We made up in our mind. Same as a time, you cannot find time basically, because the past, present, future, all of them is combined together. We call such time. But if you separate them, and then is countless. So you cannot find, impossible, the essence, the real time, not possible. So that's he saying. So in that way, is everything is like that way. We always can challenge the true. We think is true exist things, you know, like or the phenomenon in the samsara, but that doesn't do anything for Buddha nature. Basically, Zhentong, okay, the ultimate truth cannot challenge. That's why he say, so when you analyze and in general, Ranton, Zhentong, they both sharing, they you know, analyze born, remain, and old, and you know, die. Where is it? You know, if you analyze those things, you cannot find any of those. You know why? Because born from where? You know, if you analyze this, then there's between. You know, yeah, there's we not go to details of that, but that's all analytical things is exist in the Ranton, Madhyamaka, and Zhentong everywhere. So so basically Ranton Baz think the problem is Ranton Baz always mixed the two truth, and they're using that tool, they're using this tool to can challenge it, the relative truth. They try to challenge of the ultimate truth because they're mixing together. But Zhentong was saying, no possible. Or this can challenge things to the samsara. You cannot challenge the ultimate truth. You cannot challenge the Buddha nature. That's why he says, means born, remain, olden, any of these phenomena you can challenge. You cannot challenge the suchness, okay? Because the suchness is yeshi. Yeshi means awareness of the awareness of the primordial awareness, you know. So that's why primordial awareness. So this one is never born and never cease. So that's why you cannot challenge by that. Then in Pakpi Remi Jean-Luc Chechonte, Girkin Tan and Ron Sansun Tan, Ngun Tan Shim Tar Gimdi Stem Derso, Rikir Shapan Tai Tekanians. Pakpi means the noble bin means Nagajuna. Nagajuna's all the doctrines, big and small, all the doctrines. He said the cause and conditions, and then comes and goes and rise and fall. All these definitions and everything, before and end and everything, all interdependent. He said all this interdependent, everything saying all of them, any of analytical views, there is a lot of analytical views about all of them, all of them you can is a range of the relative truth, nothing's for ultimate truth. So Gyatso teta kanzo khoni shirs, chunyet tangir chuchen laman jo tu, tarnyet chuchen lartu rangumit, chunyet rangur nam jek number jokpi, chunyet rangu number jek jokko, ergim dis tutrip me shirs temderman, jiban na ranton griquali toras tambaos. So he said, the cause and condition and cause and effect, everything is only a range of the relative truth. And the chunyat measures, the suchness is unchangeable. So this is not relying on the chuchen. Chuchen means the normal existence. Tarnyat chuchen lartu rangu mitsi. So anything, names and all of them, laboring, we have to rely on no more things, but no more existence, no more phenomena. Chunya the rangu number of jokos. The suchness, the reality, the ultimate reality is not possible to rely on something. Impossible. So that's why it is not cause and effect. It's not interdependent. It's go beyond interdependent. So so all with all this together, all the Rantomba's reasonings, challenges cannot challenge Zhentong. Impossible. So as same as before, we said the space you cannot scratch by your nails or your weapon. You use a weapon or whatever. Not possible. So like that. So what time is? Okay, so Chukan Stonwar Janton, then this one Chukan Stonyet Ranston Konat and Garastan Basi. So now the subject we're going to talk about is impossible, everything is empty. Okay. Everything is like empty. You can call everything is empty, or you can say something like that name, but you have to understand the meaning. So no possible like a Rantomba way of understanding. That's he's saying, okay? So that means chukan stong janton lugin lugnirin chukan ngo nyedmit janton lug. Ranton armala xarcha nanchatan stonga mandot stonga mandot shirna tsikzam lens. So this is, you have to be very careful, listen, okay? What he's saying is both Rantomba and Zhentomba, they both have language or term. All phenomena is empty. They have that term. Why they have that term? Because all the Buddhas, sutras, everywhere have that term. So that's why they both use that. Okay? That means they both agree this language. But when they explaining, that meaning is not the same. That's why Rantomba is wrong. What they understand is wrong. That's he proven this here, Taranata. So what he's saying is, who is really understand all emptiness, all phenomena is emptiness, is only Zhentomba understand. That's according to Zhentomba. Or even we say this, all the nature of the phenomena is empty, that also Zhentomba understand. Okay? Rantomba don't understand this. Now he going to prove that. Okay? Ranton malak searcher nang ranton malak searcher tang nancha tor mandot shirna tsiksam lens. So basically Rantombas saying these things, sharing with Zhentomba, using this language and saying all phenomena is empty nature, but they only saying these words, but they don't understand the meaning. Why they? How can you prove they don't understand the meaning? He's saying, "Ranton malak searcher na tang na chas, tor mandot shirna tsiksam lens." This is maybe the best example. Maybe any of you hearing some Rantomba's teachings, such as Mahamudra, Dzokden, or Madhyamaka, or whatever. I think you maybe hear that. Did they say all these appearances don't have to be go empty? Is they say that? they say, oh, it is empty nature, but the all appearances doesn't have to be go. They can bind together. They can union of the appearance and empty. Did they say that? I'm sure that familiar with you guys. Okay, so they all say, oh, appearance and empty is a union. Okay, so Taranatha saying, so Taranatha he challenging that. What he's saying, so regardless around you saying all everything is empty nature, but at the same time you say in all appearances, okay, appearances doesn't have to go, doesn't have to be how to say, doesn't have to be negated. They are union with empty. So he's saying that is only worlds, because so for you, around Tomba, for you is all phenomena is not empty, because all appearances is not empty. That's he's saying, okay? Because empty meaning is non-exist, you know. So that's why he's saying, for you is you just saying that, but you don't understand this because you agree in all appearances is doesn't have to be empty. So tongwar mando shirna tsiksam lens vumsor nawar tongwa nyi na kyoji lugla tontam den baranjers. So if the water pitcher or pillar or a house or a table or animals or whatever, mountain or water, whatever, all these appearances must be empty for you, right? He said, because you said all emptiness, all phenomena is empty nature, you said, remember? So if that case, he said, then is all the appearances must be ultimate truth. Why? Because you agree in the ultimate truth is empty nature. Remember? Emptiness, self-empty, remember? So that's why all the appearances also must be empty, and so must be ultimate truth. So then you are agreeing all the samsara, everything or appearances also ultimate truth. So he making that challenging. Above all the challenging and this challenging is different, okay? Two challenges he are doing, okay? So the first one he's saying, Zhentong, so one way you saying all the appearances, the clarity, this clarity and the appearance, all of them, you seems not like empty, because you say, oh, this doesn't have to go. So that's why what you saying everything is empty is just words, not the meaning. And the second one saying everything must be ultimate truth. All the samsaric appearances ultimate truth, because you saying all empty nature. So either way you go, one way, right way or left, either way you go, you have challenged this. That's another challenging. Okay, then why he's saying that? Because if you saying this all phenomena, appearances and clarity, everything, if not empty, then you contradict yourself. Everything is empty. Everything is empty nature. So that's why he's saying You contradicting yourself. Zhentong par nam stony der nafsum tang, ngo nyin me der nafsum nabaksum dot jang. So then if you think, oh, in that case, maybe Zhentong Bar, you have that same problem. He said, no. Why? Because Zhentong Bar said all phenomena is empty nature. Even he said this, but have different meanings, all phenomena. That's he said, these three natures, you know, these three natures, they have a different way of empty meaning. Tete tontam kunar mundutpi nangar me chang tramta kap pagam jones. So he said all these three natures is not all of the, basically the main problem Rantong Bas, the ultimate truth and emptiness is equal, you know, equal. Same as the same position and equal. So Zhentong Bas emptiness, and the ultimate truth, not same position. So that's why he said you have the problem, and Zhentong Bas have the superior. What he's saying this, Tete Tontam Kunarmandot means all the emptiness is not the ultimate truth. That's why it's no contradiction. So all the samsara are relative phenomena, empty nature, still is not the ultimate truth. Okay, that's for Rantomba is that ultimate truth. But Zhentong said this is not ultimate truth. Okay. Even we say empty nature, but not ultimate truth. Okay. Tontam kiners nangsha kanzubmans. The ultimate truth's appearance is not it is not relative truth. Because the problem Rantomba has is all appearances samsara, they agree. The emptiness is the ultimate truth. This try to be union. So he's saying that's the problem. But Zhentong the opposite. All the relative truth, even is empty nature, that's really as a range of the relative truth, then is not ultimate truth. That's why Rantomba try to understand the emptiness. For them is Zhentong is still is relative truth, not even ultimate truth. But Zhentong point of view, even is ultimate truth. You have appearance, you have incredible appearance, you can have incredible innumerable qualities. So those is not, doesn't matter you appear or not appear, doesn't matter, it's not range of the relative truth, it's still ultimate truth. Doesn't matter the empty parts or it doesn't matter appearance part, still is ultimate truth. Jipana chukan stony the rantong kuner ngarverstan baos. So this he saying everything all phenomena is self-empty. If you say this, you have this problem. He said all these problems you have. So he's showing Rantongpa all your problems, all your contradictions, all you have the challenges. And he's showing that Zhentong has no challenge. Okay, so maybe we leave there if you have questions.
If you have any questions for Rinpoche, you can add them to the chat on Zoom, or you can put them in the comments on Facebook, and we will ask on your behalf. Rinpoche, one of the questions is, I think there's still confusion around the difference between Zhentong and the Indian Advaita Vedanta, the Indian view, and the Indian Tantras. Can you clarify that a little bit more? I know it was touched on today, but I'm sure there's still confusion on that.
Okay, so the Indian Tantra, Indian high views of the similar of Zhentong's views, and the Zhentongba view is what is the main differences. The Hindu high views, they're always talking about the ultimate truth qualities, but they don't talk about emptiness. They don't, even there may be a little touch in something sometimes, but they never emphasize on emptiness. And of course, they never say empty forms. So Zhentongba, basically Rinpoche too much habit to negating, amplify everything. So that's why then too obsessed on that. So that's why forgetting to distinguish the ultimate truth and relative truth. So you negating equally the true truth. So that's the problem. Sometimes that's why they contradict themselves, because they follow Buddha's teachings, and then when you follow the Buddha's teachings, then come up many things like Zhentong, and they agree in, at the same time, they kind of bad habit to negating together the true truth. So that's the Rinpoche's problem. So Zhentongba balanced that. The Hindus' problem is they're always thinking something, the appearance and the qualities, and they're forgotten amplify. So everything have to go amplify, and everything have to be go beyond the samsara, and they say go beyond the samsara. They say that, but they don't know how to. Basically, they forgot how to. Especially the intellectually how to amplify, not enough emphasize. You don't know, real practitioners with devotion and very good compassion and bodhisattva devotion, you can experience without explaining, without intellecting explanation. But that we don't know. But in general, they don't have a good habit to explain very well intellectually.
Okay, the next question, I think for the person who's probably joining us for the first time, there's the question of how does Zhentong define emptiness? I don't know if you want to answer this one, or if the person could listen to the recent talk on it. Up to you.
Okay, so doesn't matter Zhentong or Rantong, or you are Hindu, you amplify is one simple way you analyze everything, how it exists, for instance, even a science analyze everything, and then finally they cannot find any answer. They only find unpredictable. So similarly, anything you analyze, that is one way. You cannot find, usually we think, oh, me, you cannot even find myself within your body and your mind, and you don't know where, which was really me. Only everything is mine, and you cannot find me. So similar that way, you can find everything analyzed, the table or house or anything. You cannot find anything if you analyze. That's one way of amplifying. that analytical way of amplifying. And then the other way, you have incredible compassion, you have incredible bodhicitta, you have incredible devotion, love. All these things just transform you, and you get your mind state of something non-describable, and this whole realms crushed, you not scared of, and you for you is nothing, just like dream. It's you becomes like that. So that's also you understand the emptiness without analyzing. So that's the main two ways, or main two ways to understand that. But of course, then in many individual people have maybe different ways, but all have to be come from accumulation merit, and accumulation good qualities have to be raised from good qualities. Otherwise, you never understand. Just pure by intellectual. You can understand the intellectual level, but that doesn't go any further. Okay, if we don't have train in our mind, and if we don't accumulation merits. Accumulation merits means accumulation merits and wisdom. So accumulation merits means we do all the good things, always not just do, but in mind. Our mind do is more important than the body do, and speech do. Speech and mind is secondary. The mind do good things and think better way. Think is not selfish way. Everything is like altruistic way. So this is accumulation merit. Accumulation wisdom means you analyze, you study, you basically you not wasting time. And normal ordinary people's life is really silly, wasting time. Basically, if you have to realize that, and then you change your lifestyle, so then maybe you have more chance to gain knowledge. If you have some gain knowledge, then you have little chance to gain wisdom. But gain pure wisdom and superior wisdom, you have to have accumulation merits as well. Otherwise, not possible.
Okay, so Rinpoche, the next question is, at what stage or point in someone's practice is it going to be important that they really understand the difference between Rinpoche and Zhentong?
If you don't understand Rinpoche, Zhentong, what is the difference is, if you don't understand now, is you don't worry too much. You just aware as much as you know, as much as you hear, and and this is good knowledge for you, for yourself. And then if next your study, doesn't matter Rinpoche or Zhentong, as long as you study and you practice, you study the same concept, you can study. This is like we talking about a very high level of intellect. So you can start lower, but this high level you hear, so that also helps you a little bit. And then one day you realize, oh, this high level, oh, okay, that now it makes sense. You nevertheless is you not waste anything if you concentrate this. So doesn't matter what where you start. So if we two precious jewels, which one is more expensive, which one is more valuable, we arguing. That doesn't really matter for you too much when you don't have a buy both. But maybe one day is good for you. You know which one you choose. At that time is good for you. So it's like that.
Okay, I think this one is a good segue into another question. So a lot of questions in the last few weeks have come up about I think it has to do with Rinpoche. In the West, we usually take things quite literally as superior and inferior, very black and white. So we have a lot of questions coming in about both the Gelug tradition and also the Zhentong view, whether people who practice this somehow, what if, since here's one example, since Rangtompas don't believe suchness is the ultimate truth, when Rangtompas reach suchness or pristine wisdom in their meditation practice, they may not recognize it and instead continue to seek nothingness. How would a Rangtompa realize they've reached Buddhahood? Does it mean that there is no Rangtompa in history that achieved the realization of the ultimate truth? And then going with that, we get a lot of ones where, like, if I were to practice in the Gelug tradition or something that holds to the Rangtong view, would I not be able to realize Buddhahood?
Okay, so this is, I said many times, you know, like when we talking about Rangtong, he is inferior and Zhentong is superior. We're talking about Taranatha. Taranatha is he has mastery all of them, and then he challenging his level. We try to understand as much as what he's saying, but if we are not that position yet, not important that yet, then for us is just to hearing these teachings, incredible, valuable. This teaching, we hearing this is, we consider is a great merit for us, and also future for accumulation, future realization. And we consider that, and instead we worry in, you know, oh, Rangtong, Zhentong, which one better, which one I taken, or am I taking the wrong path? No, that is not a worry, because even if you taking the Rangtong, it still is a good direction, and you have a plenty to, plenty values you can take, a lot of. So this matter is only intellectual level. So in one day you realize that very easily, and what you did is never wasted anything. Yeah, so no matter when we talking about something, you know, oh, Rangtong, he said this, and we're not talking about here particularly names, but for instance, if we say, oh, Tsongkhapa, he said this is wrong, blah, 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 blah. So you should not take something very literally. We have to take something, oh, okay, in the high level of comparing, maybe something not right, the other point of view, but it's Tsongkhapa is incredible, extraordinary being, you know. He invent his own way of, you know, like so many people, so many sentient beings helping, you know, innumerable sentient beings liberation. So you have to understand that way, you know. We should not understand, you know, like, oh, one is right, one is wrong, not like that way. Even is in their mind is something right or wrong, something is superior and inferior, but for us both is incredible, valuable. We should take that path right now. But if you are level of, you understand, and if you challenge each other, and then which one is more challengeable, then it's you can follow that as well, you know. It's not taking something contradiction, because this is innumerable qualities. It's not just one black and white. So it's the same as we just say, oh, all color is just black and white, no other color is not exist. That's not correct. The same thing. When we say something arguing here, superior and inferior, is we're not talking about all aspects. We're talking about maybe 100 aspects, but we're not talking about innumerable aspects. They are there when it's wrong. We're not talking about that.
Okay, and just to help clarify, Rinpoche, so if someone is studying in the Gelug tradition and studying Zhentong, they're not going to miss Buddhahood or something if they reach Buddhahood.
No possible. You are so fortunate. You are so fortunate. You are so fortunate to be Gelugpa. You have to think of, I'm so fortunate to be Gelugpa. I'm so fortunate to be Nyangmaba. I'm so fortunate to be Kargyupa. I'm so fortunate to be Sakyaba. You can say anything, you know, any of these things, you know, like, but one day if you shift, and no problem. You shouldn't worry about, oh, I betrayed Gelugpa, I betrayed Nyama. No. If your Nyama and your Gelug and your school only cares on you as a position, and then you only cares as like a husband and wife and cheating each other, like that kind of, and then is already, so already you are not really Gelugpa, you are not really Nyamapa, you are nothing. So, and also if they see it as like your position, you are like a position, you know, belonging, it's not that. Nyama way, Gelugwa or Chonamba way, whatever way is tool of liberate for you. Which tool liberate for you is the best. And first 100 kilometers that the Gelugpa liberate you, but later on, and you know, like Nyama liberate you, that's fine, no problem, that's perfect, okay?
Okay, the next question is, does the mind only school mean that the mind is empty?
No, mind only school means all existence, external existence absolutely not exist at all. Only mind is truly exist, and then mind project everything. Basically, they're saying that.
Okay, and then the next question is basically, since we were talking about emptiness being defined differently by both sides to begin with, then what are they actually even debating? If they don't define this, so this person's confused because they're saying if emptiness is defined differently by both sides, then in the beginning, then how are they even debating? What are they even debating if they're not even talking about the same thing?
Oh, how they debating? Okay, so like this. If you have to go Africa, you have the plane ticket, you have arranged everything, but what you see in there's mountain, let's say mountain. Somebody say, oh, this mountain is go beyond the other mountain, and then this mountain is empty mountain. If you say that, and then no more say anymore. And somebody said this mountain is not just empty mountain. This mountain is gold mountain. This mountain have incredible every single precious jewels on this mountain. If he said this, that's big differences. One saying just empty. One saying is incredible, innumerable jewels, precious jewels there. But no matter, you either that empty or nothing or is precious jewels, you still know how to go to Africa, and still you have a plane ticket and you have a guide and everything. So when you get there, you know anyway. So like that. because they're arguing only the ultimate truth. They're not arguing, or one say, oh, bodhicitta we need, one say no need, one say, oh, we need cordial compassion, one say no need, or one say, oh, we have to have a renunciation samsara, one we shouldn't have attachment, one say, oh, no, we should have attachment. They're not arguing that. So that means they're not arguing the plane ticket, they're not arguing map, they're not arguing the guide, everything. They're not arguing, they are all agreeing. They only agree, debating that mountain. So when you get there, you know the mountain anyway, so. You got it?
Yes, I'm trying to look at the next question. So are we saying from today that the middle way is always the safest way to think, and that we need to practice hard to fix the illusion of appearance from the mind?
Yes, the middle way means we cannot deny our appearances, what we experience in samsara now. We have to be good person. We try to be good person and a responsible person. We cannot be illegal all the time, breaking the laws and breaking the social, how do you say, values and everything. We cannot do that. And also we have to take care of ourselves, not like we just crazy and eating poison. We cannot do that. So that's one extreme. We are free from one extreme. The other one, we cannot attach to everything because nothing's forever, nothing's permanent, everything is impermanent, all the time changing every moment. So we should accept that, and we shouldn't have attachment, because if we too much attachment and clinging is only extend our suffering, and how to say, make huge our suffering, increase our suffering. So nobody wants to suffer. So that's why we need to free from two extremes. So basically, it's like that.
Okay, the next question, I'm hoping I'm getting it correct, but it's what about Dharmakaya and primordial awareness of vastness, of the comparison of the internal and external silent observer? So this person's wondering the relationship of Dharmakaya and primordial awareness and the internal and external silent observer.
So depend, the words, they have a limited meaning, but a person who can understand, you can understand limitless. So that's why when you say a primordial awareness, you can understand equal as Buddha nature, or you can understand less. And the same as in external internal observer, also you can understand as equal as Buddha nature, but also you can understand is just normal samsaric internal feelings and external object you can observe. You can understand that way. It doesn't matter what you use the words. You have to understand the meaning. As long as the meaning is limitless, then is as your direction of Buddha nature. Everything is limited, and then is the direction of the samsara.
Okay, and because of the time, Rinpoche, I'm just going to ask one more question. We've had a lot of questions about what is Dzokden, where does the Dzokden Dharma come from, and what is this golden age? And I know we're going to do a retreat on this, but if you could give people a little bit of an answer, this has come in a lot.
Okay, the details we have to go to retreat on this, because this is such important subject for all over our world, or for our future. but the simple meaning is to explain is what is the complete Dharma. The golden Dharma is meaning is the Taranatha and Torboba. They are emanations of the Shambhala Kalki. So they are arguing that and the normal Indian masters and Tibetan masters, the Buddhist, they understand the Dharma is limited, basically. And they're saying we have to understand the complete Dharma. If we not, then we are still suffer on the samsara. But if we can understand the Dharma completely, and then we acting accordingly, and then the golden age, you know, the perfect future is in our hands, basically saying that. That is the relationship between the golden age Dharma and the golden age time.